our society is based on comfort. And that's why people are so sick. This is stuff that humans have done for millennia. And we had to just because that's how we lived. You had to go out, forage for food and be in the elements and fast, not eat anything for days at a time.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other big thing I want to talk to you about is fasting.
If you were to say, hey, I'm a biohacker, this is what day one, what do you think is like your protocol that's the most important? If you had to like
Funny how.
Come here though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you? We interrupt this program to bring you.
But yeah, tell me a little bit about kind of your background and all that. I'd love to know more.
Well, I'm a 30. I lost count of the years, but I think 37-year practitioner. Well, originally chiropractor, but I evolved into a holistic practitioner and dropped the chiropractic side. But I still do. I have to be careful how I talk about it because I have a certain agreement with the state board. I can't call myself a doctor or a chiropractor, and I cannot say that I'm doing chiropractic.
I see.
But I still do. Let's just say I'm doing similar things that I used to do.
Fair enough.
I just don't call it chiropractic.
Of course.
And I'm much happier because of it.
That's good. And what made you kind of make that switch to not
well,
do that?
Okay, so the main thing that I actually do, I've been doing it for about 11 years now, is I do a biofeedback system from Germany called Cyberscan.
Okay.
And that's like my main modality, I would say, of interacting with patients and clients. I mean, the stuff I'm doing is kind of revolutionary, to be honest with you. There's not too many clinics in the world that do what we do.
And where are you out of again? Sorry, I know it's in
West LA.
That's right. Okay. And
where are you? Where are you at?
I'm in Tampa, so I'm.
Oh, I was just in Tampa.
Oh, were you really?
I was just there.
Oh man. All right. It's a good place.
Oh yeah. No, I had an amazing time.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
I will share with you the things you're going to be. I'm going to blow your mind about some of the people that I met there.
Oh, I bet. Were you just out here for work or?
Well, I was okay. This is like a whole backstory, but yeah, I was out there to do like recon work on the top biohacking technology in the space. I have a friend of mine, his name's Stephen Klein, who he's like pretty much connected with all the top people in the biohacking space. You know, the people that are creating new products, new protocols, new everything. And actually, there's quite a few of them that are in that Tampa area. I know I saw 7 people when I was there.
Wow.
And so we can talk about those specific things, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I'm curious what revolutionary tech that's kind of coming out or practices or protocols that maybe a lot of people aren't really talking about. I'm super fascinated by that. I mean, most of my show is, we talk a lot about health, wellness, parenting, things like that. I always like to say everything from hashtags, humanity hashtags, everything from social media to what makes us human. That's kind of in between and how that connects. Because I think with social media, what's happened, at least lately, the last 5-6 years, is everyone's getting their information from vertical videos and TikTok and Instagram and all that. And sometimes we forget that science is constantly changing. And, people, and whether it's in your field or doctors or lawyers, I mean, all that stuff, everything changes constantly so much. And unfortunately, there's just so much information out there. It's hard for us to keep up as normal humans because, we're trying to pay our mortgage. Like, we can't worry about all this shit that's going on. So
I know, it's so true. I mean, it's overwhelming. It's really overwhelming.
It's a lot. Yeah. So what's all this new stuff that we're talking about here?
Well, let me kind of back up to why I was there. I should tell you the reason. Yeah. So about a year and a half ago, we had this patient coming in. His name is Mike Torsha, and he's like a celebrity trainer for a lot of A-list actors. And he started coming to us as a client, and we started developing a relationship. And he's like a guy who works out with like Arnold Schwarzenegger and those kind of guys. Former Mr. Olympian kind of guy. He's close to 70, but he still works out, and his physique is unbelievable. But the bottom line is he's always injuring himself. So we pretty much put him through like every protocol we have in our clinic. And, over time, he started to see, the magic that we do here. And little did I know that he is also works with the military, the U.S. military.
Oh, wow.
And so when Trump got elected and RFK got, installed as the health HHS secretary, they approached him and they said, because he had experience in working with the military in the past, and they knew that he was very into this stuff, all the biohacking kind of stuff, because he's working with a lot of A-list actors. And so he came to me and said, listen, the government wants to hire me to go in and revamp the wellness and fitness protocols in the entire military. And so he asked me to be his advisor on the biohacking side, because he's more of a fitness oriented, but he sees what I do. And he's like, okay, you're the guy. So he basically chose me to be an advisor for his, it's called Fit Force. And it's getting a huge grant from the military. And we're going to be going into the first base is Cavazos in Texas. It used to be Fort Hood, and it's the largest military base in the world, 350 square mile base. There's over 100,000 people who live there, and between 4 and 6 suicides happen a month on that base. So the big reason why we're going in there is to help with PTSD, depression, brain trauma, all of these type of things that they really don't have much to do. They don't have what they need. So they're relying on people like myself and Mike to bring in the latest technology. So that's why I was in Tampa, because Steve has tapped into these people that are working at the cutting edge of, healing brain trauma, PTSD.
Yeah. And, because I know there's a lot of studies in terms of like psychedelics and, kind of quote unquote treatments that maybe if you tell the average person, they're like, whatever, hippie. Like they don't understand that there's been decades and decades of research. It's not like we're right.
Yeah. So, that's something that, I'm very well aware of it, but because it's still classified like a class 1 drug and it's illegal, it's not something that we're gonna focus on. We're focusing more on the biohacking side that actually works on the underlying, physiological reason why their brain is damaged and how to heal it. Wow. And that's the technology that I was actually looking at when I was there.
Wow, and the tech is there right now?
Well, we're in
You're working
in Florida. I mean, the cutting edge stuff, some of the things I saw there, let's just put it this way. It's so unbelievably mind-blowing. Like, it's going to take me months to process what I saw, like what is possible. Like, I'll give you one example. There's a clinic actually in Sarasota. It's called the Aware House. After the show, I'll hook you up with Steven. He's part of that clinic. But
cool.
Hold on one second. I gotta just tell.
Yeah, you're fine.
Back.
No worries.
My staff needed some equipment that was here in this room. But anyway, I was telling you, like, one of the things I got to try was this thing called the Aero Systems, which is it's like an intermittent hypoxia therapy that you're actually on like an exercise bike, and you're breathing low oxygen for like while you're riding normally, and then you sprint at 20-second sprint, and you breathe high oxygen. So you're going low and high, back and forth. You do that about 5 or 6 times. And what it does is that when you go into hypoxia, it's called intermittent hypoxic therapy. It stimulates all of these repair mechanisms for the brain and the whole circulatory system. So what they've seen with that technology is people with like very severe concussions and TBIs and things like that, they're basically healed within 3 sessions. Hold on one second.
Really? That's crazy.
Sorry about that. I told them, don't interfere with me. And then what do? They start knocking me on. Okay, whatever.
That's super crazy. That's fascinating though.
Oh my God, I got to try it. I'll have to tell you, it was like one of the most exhilarating experiences of exercise. I thought it was going to be really hard because I don't like doing like, hit high intensity training because it's a little bit of that because you're sprinting.
Sure.
And I thought, oh my God, this is going to be really challenging, but it wasn't.
Especially when you get that extra oxygen.
Oh my God. But the really interesting thing about it is that it makes you sweat. Like I have never sweat in my life like that. And, in 15 minutes, water was just pouring out of my body, but I wasn't stressed. I didn't feel overstressed. It was easy. And I could have easily got back on the bike and did another session. That's how energized I was from doing it. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the, if you had to, I guess, what would you classify your specialty in, for your clinic? If you had to kind of like top level it.
The broader category is biohacking.
Biohacking.
We're a biohacking center. Dave Asbury, do you know who Dave Asbury is?
Sure.
Well, he had the main biohacking center in LA for many years. It was called Upgrade Labs. There was one in Santa Monica and one in Beverly Hills. And it was very badly managed. It was a corporate situation. They didn't have like a leading doctor in there to kind of supervise it. It was all run by techs, right? The problem is that when you're doing biohacking protocols, you really need a physician or a very highly trained nurse or practitioner who can very tune into the person and say, okay, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. They just had cheap techs who were just throwing people on machines, and the whole thing caved in after a few years because there was no real leadership because Dave lived in another state and wasn't present, and so both of those centers went out of business, and we kind of became by default the main center in LA because we were already doing a lot of the things we do pulse, PEMF, hyperbaric, red light, and a bunch of other that are more say exotic things that people may not have heard of. Yeah. But essentially it's a biohacking center. But that term basically what it means is we're manipulating the environment internally as well as externally to create change in the body, preferably good change, like better health, better mitochondrial function, getting rid of diseases, where the body does it. Like the thing with biohacking is we're not claiming to diagnose or treat a disease. What we're doing is optimizing physiologic function using different forms of energy.
I love it. Yeah. And I'm quite familiar with it as well because I practice a lot when it comes to either red light therapy or I do a lot of contrast therapy. So sauna, cold plunging, things like that. Yeah. And, that was like my first kind of jump into biohacking before it was even a biohacking thing. I've been doing it for a decade. And as a lot of us know, if you follow cold plunging, I mean, that's been going on. The Finnish, I think, were doing that centuries ago. So it's it's not new, but it's one of, I think, probably the most popular forms of quote unquote biohacking because these are things that they don't necessarily claim that it cures a lot of diseases. However, just speaking from experience and a lot of people that do contrast therapy in particular, which I could talk to, it's the response that you get. It's when you drink a cup of coffee and you're like, okay, caffeine does something to me. You don't have to have a doctor to understand what that does, right? It's the same thing with cold therapy. No one believes me, and I'm sure you probably get this a lot more than I do, but no one believes me when I say just hop in 45-degree water for 5 minutes, and for the entire day, you got this hit of dopamine that's on a different level. And then I started kind of diving into all these other types of biohacking, and thank goodness for folks like yourself that run clinics, but also the internet. We talk about how kind of there's so much information. I don't think it would be so popular if it wasn't for a lot of these folks, like maybe David, that kind of push the biohacking to new limits. And so I'm it's super fascinating to me. I know there's new stuff coming out all the day. I mean, what do you think is one thing that if you were to say, hey, I'm a biohacker, this is what you should probably do day one, what do you think is like your protocol that's the most important if you had to like put it on the top level?
I mean, because I'm evolving, that's a tough one because I would say
so much.
The basics, of course, you already said it: ice bath, contrast therapy.
Yeah,
I've been doing that since 2016. I met Wim Hof and also Jack Cruz at the same time. I learned about Jack Cruz and Wim Hof, and they both were talking about ice baths, and I got into it. I got into it not out of any biohacking reason. I got into it because I was in severe pain. So like I had a hip injury that wasn't healing properly, and I developed something called CRPS, chronic regional pain syndrome. I basically wanted to go to the hospital and have them take my leg off. That's how bad it was. It got to a point where I was taking Percocets, and it was constant pain for like 2.5 years, And I was just searching. I'd gone all to the top doctors that I knew here in LA, got a little bit of relief, but not really curing the problem. And my thing is, I actually want to help people cure themselves, right? If they have a chronic problem, I don't want to just give them a little relief. I want them to get to the point where they are basically cured, right? And so I was happy to be the patient at that time, and it was like, so I learned about the cold plunging, and my friend.
You're with Wim Hof, so you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
But the thing is, I didn't know about Wim Hof. I started actually with Jack Cruz. I don't know if you know. Do you know Jack Cruz?
Heard of him? Yeah, of course.
Well, he's amazing. Anyway, so one of my patients had him on his podcast. You might know him, Luke Story. Do you know Luke Story?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the first biohacking podcast back in the day, and his first guest was Jack Cruz.
That's
and
so
he's like, "Hey, Har Hari, I just built an ice bath. You want to come and try it?" I'm like, "Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah.
I've tried everything else. Why not?" So I went and did an ice bath. My first ice bath was 7.5 minutes in 32-degree water.
Wow, that is impressive.
It was insane, okay, to be honest with you. Luke didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know what we were doing. He's like, "Just get in." So I'm like, okay. I got in.
Yeah, I don't even do that now. That's
no, I don't either. I don't either. But Luke was like, "Oh no, you should go for 15." I'm like, "Are you sure?"
Of course he would say that, right? That's funny.
So I get in, right, and I stick my hands in the water, and I'm like, immediately my hands are on fire. I'm like, "Luke, my hands are burning." He's like, "Take them out." So I took them out. I was able to, withstand it for like 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And like literally for the rest of the day, I was going from sauna to hot shower to hot bath. Nothing I did was heating up my body.
Yeah.
I was like I was in true hypothermia, literally.
That's crazy.
But I finally got recovered, and I said, that was extreme. Even though it was quite uncomfortable, I knew right then that my life had changed. I was committed to getting into doing ice baths, and I built my own ice bath in my backyard with one of those chest freezers, and
cool.
And that was it. I started because of the situation I was in with the pain syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I just committed to do 11 minutes at 32 degrees every day, like from day one.
Oof.
From day one. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna do it."
Yeah.
I didn't have anything to lose. It was like I was at my wit's end.
Sure.
And so I did 11 minutes a day for 3 months. Every day it gave me relief. It took me out of pain, but it didn't cure anything, right? But by the 3rd month,
and you're referring to your leg, right? At this point,
yeah, to the leg, to my hip and leg. Mm-hmm. But by the 3rd month, I was sitting in the ice bath one day, and the recollection of it is like crystal clear. The energy in my bone, literally the bone of my thigh and my calf, I could feel like a meridian opening in the center of the bone, going all the way down to my foot, like somebody had stick a giant acupuncture needle in there, and it opened up the energy flow, right, of the bone. Literally, I could feel it, right, and I knew right that when that happened, I'm like, "Oh my God, I think my leg just healed." And from that day on, I no longer had the problem.
Come on.
Yeah, it was gone.
That's insane. And it's not so far-fetched either, because a lot of people if you start diving into this stuff, I mean, that's a big reason why I got into contrast therapy was because I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease about a decade ago. And I tried medications and all that. Nothing really worked. And I was like looking into these ways of how the body can actually heal itself. And there's a lot of different things. You know, obviously stress is a big part of why some people have a lot of Crohn's incidents. So I was like, okay, so let me look into grounding. So then that kind of changed. And then breathing. And then I kind of get in, you know, to breathing. And then the contrast therapy came up. And I'm like, okay, so if you add all these protocols together, and of course fitness, and you got to take care of your body in terms of nutrition and things like that. Yeah. But I started diving into all these different areas to get good at. Now, here I am 10 years later, my Crohn's isn't cured, but I am in through remission and I haven't been on medication. And
you have not been on medication?
Zero medication. Yeah.
Nice.
And I was on like Humira and a bunch of, you know, steroids as well that they put me on, and not the good kind. Just trying to get rid of the inflammation, and nothing seemed to work. And then, you know, again, it's not coincidence. I think if a lot of people like yourself and people that have kind of some chronic diseases and issues, a lot can be healed by putting the body under stress and literally challenging the body, because the body's so strong. Like, people don't understand when I tell them things like this, and when people are hearing your story, they're probably like, he's full of shit. You don't understand. Like, and all you have to know is if you slice open your finger, like I've cut my finger open to where I saw the bone, the body can close that up. That's all you need to know, the power of the body. And I even had a tumor in my lung, and I got that removed. I had to get a third of my lung removed. Just a couple of years ago.
Was that a cancerous tumor?
No, thank goodness it wasn't. No, once they removed it, they, you know, did the biopsy and all is good. But yeah, they had to remove a third of my lung, and I was recovering for, almost a year. I mean, this was almost 3 years ago now, but it took me a year to recover. And that's when I realized that the body is way more powerful than you think. When you can come back, and there's obviously tons of stories out there of people dealing with much worse stuff, but it's like you got to push your body to what it's capable of. And the only way to do that is through these protocols that might seem a little crazy, but studies are coming out every day.
You know, the thing is, a lot of my patients will never do an ice bath, and I get it, like, because I'm a huge advocate like you, right? Yeah. But you know what I tell them? I said, listen, you'll get major benefit just by sticking your hands in ice water. Right. You'll get, like, they've shown, like, even just doing your hands, your face, it activates the hypothalamus. You're getting a huge hermetic response, which is the stress response, just from your hands going in the ice water.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's even this company, I think there's this company called Face Tub, where it's literally like a big tub you put your face in, but it's got a snorkel and everything.
So you can leave it in there. Yeah.
You can leave your face in. And again, you look at like these studies, and this stuff sounds kind of crazy, but you look at this stuff, and it's not coincidence that the people that do mostly these protocols and things, whether it's, you know, diseases get reversed or you feel more relief, it's worth trying. And I will say, I say this because I do a lot of videos on cold therapy and sauna. It sucks every time. Like, as you know, every single morning that I do it, it's the worst thing that I do every day. Like, I hate doing it. I'm finally.
I don't have that attitude at all.
Oh, dude, no. I fucking hate it. It's like the worst thing I do every day.
Well, the first few moments, like, it's usually the first 15 seconds. Yeah. It's uncomfortable. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But that's where your mind comes in, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
I'm just going to let this pain go. You know, Wim Hof has this saying: you need to consciously die every day.
Yes.
And when you get into that water, you have to let go, because if you struggle and fight it, it's going to hurt you worse.
Yep. Yeah.
So you just need to consciously let it go.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's a practice of letting it go.
Yeah. And you're right. When you do get in there, it's definitely much better. Except, you know, I even have one of those circulators too in my.
That intensifies the experience.
Yeah, I have something called called the Pod Company. It's like a big, a long pod, so it's kind of, instead of vertical, it's more horizontal, like a fridge. and I lay that down. I throw in a circulator in there. So when it's at like 40 and it constantly, because a lot of people don't realize when you're in there for like a minute, you don't even feel it. Like it's over. You're good. But when you have a circulator or something,
Yeah.
ooh, it's
You never get comfortable. But that's a better way to do it because you can, it's more challenging to do it.
That's right.
Way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to your point, I mean, that's what you got to do, right? Is you got to put stress onto your body to do it. And I don't think a lot of people are comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
But it's also
our society is based on comfort.
Yeah.
And that's why people are so sick because they don't do what this is stuff that humans have done for millennia. And we had to just because that's how we lived. You had to go out and forage for food and be in the elements and fast, not eat anything for days at a time.
Yeah.
That's the other big thing I want to talk to you about is fasting.
Oh, sure.
I've been a faster since I was 18 years old. I'm 65 right now. Okay.
Wow.
I don't feel 65, by the way. I feel like about 25.
Yeah, you don't look 65.
Yeah. So one of the things that I discovered in my fasting journey is something called dry fasting. I don't know if you've heard of it. Are you familiar with it?
No, I haven't.
Well, I found out about it through a book called The Phoenix Protocol. And I believe the guy who wrote it lives in Tampa or in the area.
Wow.
And you should look him up. He's got a YouTube channel. It's called Phoenix Protocol. His name is August Dunning. He's a NASA scientist. And he got this information from the Russians because NASA and the Russians collaborate, even though we're kind of at war. But they've always collaborated in space. On the Earth, no. In space, yeah.
Different world up there. Yeah.
Anyway, I read his book about 6 years ago, and the Russians pioneered this thing called, it's an extended dry fast, 5 to 7 days. And it's probably one of the most profound healing things I've ever done. And I've done it 5 times so far. I do it every year now from Christmas to New Year's because we actually have a house in Ormond Beach. That's in Florida. I'm right near.
Right.
But we live here, but we go back there for Christmas, New Year's. But what we do is we do a dry fast. My wife and me do 5 to 7 days. We eat no food, no water. We just chill out. It sounds ridiculously hard. It's not. Your body adapts to it pretty quickly because we're actually built to do this because humans over millennia would have to go for long periods of time where we had no food or no water. Okay.
Wow.
And you can survive. It's not. And the thing is that 5 to 7 day period creates a massive stem cell release, probably as much or more than what you would do like if you went down to Costa Rica or Mexico and did a massive stem cell infusion, except it's your own stem cells, which are way better for you than some other person's. Okay.
Right.
And then also autophagy, which is the body's self-eating mechanism breaking down the diseased tissue. Okay. So you're getting rid of the old disease and you're building all brand new stem cells. Essentially, every time you do this procedure, 5 to 7 days, you're anti-aging yourself 10 to 15 years.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And what do you typically do when do you have a certain schedule or protocol that you actually do things meaning the last night that you eat? Do you have a certain meal that's
I've experimented with all kinds of different ways of doing it. Yeah. We've had big meals, we've had small meals. The main thing is you just get hydrated, with a lot of electrolytes, like the couple days going into it. Right. So you got plenty of electrolytes on board, and that's it. And then you just go into it. But the most important part of a dry fast is when you break it, because you don't want to go back and eating food right away. So for the first 3 days, it's liquid diet only. So
maybe like bone broth or something.
Watermelon, broths, things like that. On the third day, you can start doing cooked veggies, things like that. Everything's soft, super easy to digest. So for 5 days, if you did a 5-day cleanse, you're going to do 5 days refeed. And that period of time is very important because if you go back to it like a typical American diet, you're going to lose all the benefits.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but the book, The Phoenix Protocol, goes into all the details. And he also has a YouTube channel too.
Oh man, I'm going to check him out for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's fun.
I got 3 of those that, they're grown now. My youngest is 27.
Wow.
And my oldest is 35.
Wow. Yeah, ours is almost 2. So I'm like long way there, but it's been a hell of a ride so far for sure.
Oh yeah. I remember those days.
Yeah. And so the 5 to 7 day fast, that's fascinating. How often do you do that? Just like once or twice a year? Or?
I do it once a year.
Okay.
But if I had like some serious disease, I would probably do it multiple times. I mean, there's another book that this woman wrote. She had severe end stage Lyme disease. I believe she did 3. Like she did a 7, a 9, and another 9 day. But they were medically supervised by the Russian doctor who's been doing it for decades. So he knew how to administer it. It's literally like doing surgery. It's like you're getting surgery when you do a dry fast. It's pretty intense, but the results are undeniable. Like she had end-stage Lyme disease, and after her 3rd dry fast, she was cured. She had no longer had Lyme disease.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, the most I've done was a 4-day water fast.
Yeah.
And that
and the
was
problem with water fasting, I did water fasting for years, but here's the thing, and most people don't know this, is when you water fast, your body metabolizes your muscle. You're literally breaking down your muscle when you water fast. When you dry fast, your body targets fat for fuel, and it preserves the muscle. So all you're doing is using the fat, not the muscle. So that's why I will never water fast again, because it's actually destructive to the body. I know people who do it. I know people who do long-term dry fasts, and they do get amazing results, but it's extremely stressful.
That's
and
crazy.
The thing is, with a dry fast, 1 day of a dry fast is equivalent to 3 days on a water fast.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So you'd be better off doing just 3 days of a dry fast if you really had to, right?
Oh yeah, that's like 9 days of water fasting.
That's great. Do you see more? I mean, obviously you see more benefits doing 7, but what day do you see autophagy
the
really
third
kick in?
day is when the chaperone-mediated stem cells get activated, and those are the things that rebuild the entire circulatory system. Yeah. And then day 4, 5, and 6, then you start getting all the different cell. They're called cell levels or cell. I don't know. He explains it, but there's this cell niches. So your liver, your heart, your brain, they each have a niche with their own set of stem cells. When you get into those higher days, especially day 5, 6, and 7, you're activating all of those niches where your whole body gets regenerated.
Wow.
Yeah.
So no water, no coffee, nothing
passes your lips. Nothing.
Wow.
Not even toothpaste. You can brush your teeth with a dry brush. That's it. No water, no toothpaste, nothing.
Yeah, because you're going to be tempted to, have it in your system, right? Yeah. That's insane. Yeah. Well, not for nothing. My wife's going to hate it, but I think I'm going to have to try it. Just cause. Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's a guilty pleasure, I have to say, because the way you feel at the end, I mean, I literally feel like I'm like a teenager when I finish the dry fast. Yeah. I can do yoga. My body becomes way more flexible. I can do yoga that I did back in my 20s and stuff. It's insane, dude.
That's wild. Now, do you typically do any type of training or physical activity during this dry fast, or is it pretty chill?
Well, Dr. Filanov, who's the Russian doctor who administers the, medically supervised, he makes everyone who does it walk 10 kilometers in the morning every day on the dry fast.
Wow.
Which is doable. The first 3 days, you still have glycogen on board in your muscle and your liver. So you can do that pretty easily. By day 4, your glycogen stores are gone. So then it becomes rather challenging. So what I do instead of walking, I have a vibration plate that, vibrates like this. I'll do that for like 20 minutes just to move the lymph. And we'll typically also go down to the beach and just jump in the water and float around. And that feels really amazing when you're dry fasting. It's incredible.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. well, your body's in its natural habitat. It's like, ooh, now we're talking. Yeah.
Oh man, it feels so good. I also do ice baths too. That's another thing. Like when you
During the fast?
during the dry fast, I do an ice bath, but it helps you with the craving. Like when you get this deep craving inside, and you get in the dry fast, it goes away immediately, like that, like it's gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I love about cold therapy in general. You know, I had a Crohn's attack for the first time in, man, I don't even know, probably years. Just about 3 months ago, and I know when it's coming. Like I know when it let's say it peaks at day 3, where it's like unbearable. Sometimes I used to have to go to the hospital back in the day, where they would literally like NG tube and they would have to suck me out because I couldn't pass anything. That's how crazy the blockage was.
You know what? A dry fast would heal you. Would heal that.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, because even the water fast, that's usually what I do anyway. When I know a attack is coming, I'll just fast. I usually do intermittent fasting on a daily basis anyway, but I usually just do that water fast when I have an incident come up, and then I could feel the inflammation in the intestine open back up again. Like I could feel it in my body. And I've always wondered about dry fasting, just because I know if I get benefits from water fasting, I'm sure it's tenfold when it comes to dry fasting.
Yeah, dry fasting is incredible. I would like to start an institute at some point in this country, because the only option people have right now is to go to the Eastern European bloc countries, because the Filanov can't even do it in Russia anymore, because there's a bunch of Westerners who follow him, but they don't allow Westerners into the part of Russia where he was doing it previously, which was, by the way, one of the most beautiful nature preserves in Russia, in Siberia, up in the it's called the Altaires Mountains, and it's near mountains and streams and trees, and it's like the most epic, like alpine environment. And you really want to do dry fasting in nature too, by the way. You know, we do it at the beach in Ormond Beach. Ormond Beach is very rural. It's very quiet, like where we live. And so it's like perfect environment for it. But if you're in a city environment, I would definitely go into nature and do it. It's not something you want to do in the city.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see the benefits of doing that for sure. I think it's just more uncomfortable for people because, similar to other propaganda, the Westerners were just used to, oh, you have to eat, every 3 hours like that. That was the funniest thing to me when I used to be a trainer back in the day in a previous life, and as a personal trainer, that was the funniest thing to me, because the quote unquote new fad, new diet as it was hitting when I was in my 20s was like, oh, you got to eat every 3 hours to keep the metabolism going, yada, yada, yada. And now we know that's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's
they didn't know. Yeah.
They didn't know. New stuff is coming up.
It's like, oh yeah, eat a little something, you get energy,
Yeah.
Which logically makes sense, but then when you really look at it, you're like, something's not quite right there.
Right. But we can't tell everybody to do dry fast, because then what happens? Well, Coca-Cola and Nabisco and all these companies, they lose millions of dollars a year because people aren't eating
that would
as
be
much.
really bad. Our main stated goal with the group of I'm working with a group of pirates that want to bring down the entire system. So I think that would actually be a wonderful thing.
It'd be a fantastic thing. Yeah. Well, especially when
our stated goal is to do away with all disease on the planet and to bring health and healing to everybody. So
that's beautiful. Yeah. We really we got open to that a little bit more when we took our daughter, me and my wife, we went to Italy last year. And if you go to, whether it's a third world country or even just a country that's not North America, you realize that these people are healthier, not because they exercise, not because they're doing fucking protocols like we're talking about. It's because of the nutrition, the food they're eating, number one. But number two, it's the little amount of food they're eating. That's what's so fucking crazy. The reason why you have these different blue zones and everything is because people are like not eating as much. It's just they're just walking around like these Europeans. They walk around everywhere. They barely eat. But they're drinking wine. They're having a good time. They don't do like kettlebell training and shit. Like there's no. It's only because they're not eating as shitty as we do in America. And when you step outside this country and you realize that, it really opens your eyes to a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's why I'm also looking at getting some kind of center outside of this country. Like when I was in Tampa, we went out to dinner with this guy who's like a billionaire, and he started this retreat center in Belize, and it's like the most eco-friendly retreat center. Everything is organic. All the food that they prepare comes from the local farmers who are like generations of German old school people that have only done organic farming for like hundreds of years, and that's and then you're in the most pristine jungle, and the coral reef there is the second most big, beautiful coral reef in the world, right there in Belize. Wow. It's a secret. I should probably be talking about it because we're like, we want to keep this a secret.
we're gonna look it up. It's like the beach with Leo DiCaprio. Like, don't tell anybody about it. Yeah, that is one thing that is very fascinating to me, where we've talked about getting out of this country when we get the capital and we can go. But again, I think the problem is for decades we've kind of had this thought of we were in nature, and then we literally built 4 walls to keep ourselves aside from nature. We, instead of opening up windows, we turn on the AC, we turn on the fans. But the benefits, when you actually step outside of that, you realize that to be human, you can't do any of the things we're doing now. Like, we've taken a huge step back in terms of
and that's why the biohacking comes in, because it's bringing you back into those elements that actually create happiness, health, and strength. That's a Wim Hof saying, but it's true.
Yeah.
It gets you back to nature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true. That was beautiful. Well, listen, man, I can't believe we're almost at an hour. I got another call at 3, but if you can give us a quick little, snippet of where people could find you. If you got social media, throw that out there as well. And then I'd love to have you on again, because I know there's a lot we could talk about.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten into the actual stuff that I do. I mean, the stuff we talked about is really important, though, because anybody can do it for no money. That's the important thing. That's 90% of what the real biohacking technology is: sun, cold, fasting, organic food. It's stuff that doesn't require millions of dollars,
Right.
But the next time, if we do a podcast, we'll talk about the things that do require some money.
Sure.
Because people want to know about those things.
Yeah, of course. And, I'm going to leave your website and your clinic and all that in the description below. But yeah, if people want to know more and they want to get more details, where can they go to check you out and learn more?
Cool. So yeah, our website's just thuheal.com. And the Instagram is the same thing. It's at thuheal, HEAL. Thuheal.
Love it.
Yeah. And it stands for Transformational Healing Universe. My wife made that up about almost 2 decades ago. We've had this name.
Dude, that's a killer name. Kudos to her.
Yeah.
Well done. Give her all the credit on that one. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, is it pronounced Hari? Am I saying that right? Har Hari. Okay, cool. Yeah. Great, man. Well, listen, I definitely want to have you on again. We'll we'll definitely set up some time, and we could talk a little bit more. But I learned a lot from you, and I know the listeners are going to get a lot of value out of this. So I'll leave your website and everything down below. So if people want to reach out to you, they will reach out to you. But
it was awesome. I love sharing this stuff because nobody talks about this stuff. Even though there's a lot of stuff in the biohacking world, no one's talking about dry fasting.
No, I mean, if I'm being honest, I've done research on it, but I've never talked to anybody about it. So that really opened up my eyes, especially when I forget the percentage, but I think it's something like 70. It's over 70% of Americans are obese or have a chronic disease, and out of that, I think it's over like 60% of Americans have some sort of quote unquote irreversible chronic disease, which is very interesting because I, as a Crohn's patient, that's an irreversible, uncurable disease. However, I've been off medication and haven't had symptoms in years after doing this. So it's like, how is it really not possible to get cured, or is it maybe we're just not getting taught what to?
Yeah. Well, if people get the knowledge of what we're telling you, it destroys the system.
Of course.
Jack Cruz. I would really love it if you could get Jack Cruz on your show, dude.
That'd be cool.
That would really blow your mind, because his whole thing is decentralized medicine, where people learn about this stuff and apply it in their own lives, and they do not need to rely on the toxic drugs that are being pushed on everybody.
Yeah. Well, put in a good word, would you?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It'd be great to learn more about this stuff, because I think it doesn't, to your point, doesn't get talked about enough, but also it's kind of scary, right? Because a lot of times people don't want to talk about this stuff because they know for sure how corrupt and the trickle effect it would have. But if it does happen, if these corporations do fall, like you were saying, man, that would just be such a great thing, because then we can get back to connected with nature. We can love our bodies more. We'll live longer.
What's the point of putting poison in your body? It's counterproductive.
Makes no sense.
Totally counterproductive.
Yeah. Like an Oreo is not that good where you need to have it. There's no benefits to it.
Once you bite into an organic apple or organic watermelon, or have a grass-fed steak that is raised regeneratively, that's the biggest. Like, talk about dopamine hit. Like eating the way nature intended us to eat. It's like there's nothing like it.
A perfect example that I never thought about when we were over in Italy. So we got an Airbnb, and then we ended up going to the markets and cooking our own food. Ironically, because Italy has like some of the best food in the world, but you're like, why would you cook? It's the ingredients. Like even just the eggs that aren't refrigerated, that you go there and they're just on the shelf hanging out, and you crack it open and it's like almost red.
Wow.
And you're like, this is not an egg. And then you eat it and you're like, oh, wait a minute. We don't have eggs in America. This is what an egg is supposed to taste like. When, these chickens are just in a field somewhere, and these little Italians go and run and chase them and have to grab them to get their eggs. Like they're not caged up. It's interesting when you try these different ingredients, and that's a different level. Like when you start getting your body out of like what we're currently eating, you start craving good things again, but we're so like stuck in this like pizza rolls and bagel bites and having all this crappy food that when you actually have good food, you don't appreciate it because your body's palate is just so it's used to the garbage. You got to get
that's where fasting is so good, because when you fast, it completely resets your palate. So now when you start to eat again and you eat something that's healthy, you actually like it. Right. Versus going towards the crap and going, oh, I want that pizza. It makes you feel like crap after you fasted and eat a pizza. You're not going to want to do that. So.
Yeah. And that should tell you something about the food we're eating. Well, listen, again, thanks so much for the knowledge. And I'll shoot you a note after this. I'll let you know when this is live. I got to edit it and put it all together, but I'll keep you posted. And we'll definitely stay in contact. I want to learn more.
Okay, man. It was awesome.
Right. Thanks so much.
Take care.